Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back. Today we are finally going to be updating my project Huda Beauty. So this is going to be update number 1 for me. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a look. I'm just going to do the eyes with you all, and then I'm going to be chatting about the shades I had last time, the progress in those, some progress in some other Huda palettes, and then I'm going to go ahead and select a color story for the next round. If that sounds good to you, be sure to stay tuned. Also, if you're new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button because why not? Also, if you like this video at any time while watching, hit the thumbs up button, baby. Hit it, hit it, hit it. Quit it, quit it, quit it. Man, what, that TikTok, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into the update, you guys. Okay, so we're gonna start with a get ready with me, and I just thought this would be fun so you could see me do a look with one of my Huda palettes. The palette that I selected is the Mercury Retrograde. I know that this wasn't in the rotation last time, but I have a shade in here that I think is pretty close to pan, so I would love to hit pan on it, so I want to use it today, and I thought this would be a great opportunity. First, I'm going to go into the shade here just to set the lid. I'm aware that I haven't updated this project in like 3 months. I did my intro 3 months ago, and I said that I would probably be back when I had like some progress or I was ready to switch things up, etc. So that's kind of just now happening. So I wanted to chat about that. If you guys aren't aware, my friend Kirsten started this. It's called Project Huda Beauty, and she had started this just because she wanted to get some more use out of her Huda palettes, and I have a lot of Huda palettes, so I thought that that would be fun to join with her as well. Next, I'm going to go in with this purple shade here. This is the one that is really close to pan, so that's why I wanted to use it, and I'm just going to continue to use this all over to just like build up my base. Super pigmented, pretty shade. But she started it and I joined it, and so far I've really been loving it. If you've seen on Instagram, some of my Huda palettes have been getting a lot of love. So yeah, I will tag her below in her latest update for the project, so you can check out Kirsten's channel as well. But yeah, I just thought that this would be fun to do a little get ready with me, and I was hoping I would hit that pan, but I kind of don't think that I am. Funny story about the Mercury Retrograde palette. I had decluttered this palette after I first got it. I thought it was good and I really liked it. I enjoyed the formula. However, I have a lot of Huda palettes, so I didn't feel like it was unique enough to keep, especially because at that time I had bought it at full price. So I like resold it, and I always kind of like thought about it. I was like, because you would see so many people do like really beautiful looks with it, and I was always kind of like having FOMO a little bit. And then no pan, gosh darn it. What shade do we want to use next? Maybe this like blue shade. I'm gonna get more of like a pecker brush situation. I don't know if it's gonna look good or not. I kind of just want to use like a lot of different colors that I normally wouldn't use. But it went on sale on Sephora for like half off, and then there was a 20% off coupon. I had cash back. I ended up paying literally like $6 to $8 for this palette. And so for that, I was like, who cares if I have repeat shades? I only paid like $6 to $8 for this. And so I'm really glad that I picked it back up and I have it, you know, back in my collection. I also feel like this one is better formulated than my first one, because in my first palette, I hated this shade because it would blend away into nothing. But as you can see, it looks pigmented and good. on the eye. So I don't know what was with that, if I just got like a dud or what. But I've really been enjoying this, especially as we get into the spring. I've been using it a lot because it's one of my more like pastel moment kind of palettes. What shade should we use next? I feel like maybe do like a little bit of this peachy shade. I really love that shade. And I'm just gonna go in the middle here and just kind of pack it. Then maybe we'll do like a pink as well. But yeah, I think I'll have to look at my list, but I think I have like 9 Huda palettes. I didn't use the ones that were rotated in that much, but I did use them all at least 1 to 2 times. This palette just kind of took over the show, which is kind of why I hadn't updated as well, because I was like, oh, I haven't even really used the palettes that were rotated in that much. But then I just decided, you know, who cares? Like, I got several pans in another palette. I used some of my other ones. So realistically, I feel like, you know, I still met the goal in terms of, like, I still use my Huda palettes quite a bit. I'm going to go into this off balance shade here and just put that in the front here. But yeah, I still feel like I achieved the purpose. I just didn't really like achieve it in the palettes that were pre-selected for me, which is fine. And that's a nice thing. Like, you can kind of make your own rules. And I always try to be mindful of that. Like, if there's something that I'm not loving or I don't want to use, I'm not going to force myself to use it because I don't want to hate it, you know? So, yeah, I think I like that color. And I'll probably blend it a little bit more. Yeah, I think that's pretty. And then, what shade should I use from here? Maybe I'll just use like a little bit of Supermoon on the inner. I am gonna go ahead, pop off, finish the rest of my face, and I'll be back to update you on my other palettes that were previously rotated into the project. All right, so here's a finished look. I'm gonna go through the palettes that I had selected in the last round and just talk about like what I did use in progress, and then I'm gonna chat about some of the other Huda palettes that I used throughout this 3-month period and their progress, and then what I will be kind of doing in the next round. So I know before I'd had the Huda Nude, and I had the focus shade of this clear one up here. My goal, clear, more pale shade, and my goal was to hit pan. I did. This literally took forever. I feel like this palette is much more hard pressed than some of my other Huda palettes. Like, this took a long ass time. I had originally thought about like attempting to pan this, but I don't know, that had me rethinking my motives. But yeah, so I was able to hit that pan. The other palette that I pulled was the Rose Quartz palette. This is what she looks like. I didn't hit any pans in this one, but I did use all of the shades that I pulled, and I used it a handful of times. So that, to me, in my collection and how large it is good. I'm glad that I'm still reaching for it, even if we don't have pans. I do feel like the palette looks like it does have a little bit more use now, so I am excited about that. The last palette that I had pulled was the Huda Beauty Topaz Obsessions. This is one that I love, but like I just haven't really been reaching for those orange tones lately, and like I don't know why. I did do 2 looks with this. I use this shade actually quite a bit. Not that you can really tell, but I did do a handful of looks with this and I loved them all. Because I was like, maybe I should declutter it because I don't use it, but like I really love this palette, and when I reach for it, I love what I create. So I am going to hang on to it, and I was glad that I was able to create a few more looks with it. The palette that got the most love throughout this project was one that was not even initially included. I don't know what happened. I just started using it and I just like fell in love with it, and I just took advantage of being in a groove with a palette and wanting to use it. And in that aspect, we did see a lot of progress. It was the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde. That's why I wanted to do a look with it today, because I used the crap out of this palette throughout this 3-month period. I hit 3 pans, and I have like some really good use. So I was able to hit pan in this shade, in this shade, and in this shade. I have a large dip in this shade. I'm thinking like 1 to 2 more uses and I won't have that pan. I have a pretty good dip going on in this shade. And then I have use in the majority of the other shades. I don't know. I just got into like a pastel vibe. I think it's because Natasha Denona had released her pastel palette and everyone was talking about it and whatnot. And I was like, I'm going to reach for some pastels as well. And I pulled this out and it really just hits the mark. They're pastel, but they're pigmented, so you can actually see them, which is what I look for in pastel shadows. So yeah, this palette ended up getting beat, and I love the way that it looks. I think that I am going to like officially rotate this into my project, this, rotation, and I'm gonna rotate in this purple shade here. I'm gonna go ahead and just make a little palette on my hand, and I'm gonna rotate in this shade. And I know Kirsten does a randomizer, and I did that too the first time, but these have like great progress, so I want to pick shades that I think that I could potentially hit pan in, more like focus shades kind of situation. I want to pull those 2 shades from it. I also really want to dabble more in like the goldy brown tones of this palette, because I feel like I really haven't lately. So I want to pull the Galaxy shade, which looks stunning. It's that one right there. So those are the 3 that I want to pull from that palette. Like, look how gorgeous. Honestly, I could probably do a look with just those 3 shadows. Another palette that I used a little bit throughout this period was the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk. I used this amethyst shade, this purple amethyst shade here, a lot. It was a really great shade to pack on the outer with these like more lighter pastel colors that would bring like depth back in. And I got actually quite a bit of use out of it. I feel like I do want to rotate in a shade at least from this rose gold palette, because it has a lot of really beautiful shades, and I really just want to get some more use out of it. I definitely think I could have some pans coming in this. So I think I want to rotate in this pink diamond shade here. I'm casually just creating the color story that I want. Cause like, look at that. So stinking pretty. So I am going to rotate this in. My goal will be to use it until I hit pan, because it is a softer shimmer. So I definitely feel like I can do that pretty easily over the course of this. Only with like a handful of uses, like that kind of situation. I was also trying to think, I kind of feel like I should rotate in another matte from this palette. Trying to think like what would go well with this color story but be like realistic, you know. Maybe this Tickle shade. It's like a really pretty mauve color. I'm gonna see what it looks like with our color story. Oh yeah, that looks pretty. Okay, so I'm gonna rotate in this Tickle shade here. I think that that is really beautiful, and I think that it'll go super well with the color story. I had originally thought about rotating in my Wild Jaguar just because I think that it needs a little bit more love, but I kind of I'm really into the color story we have going right now. I think like, because I also have the brown palette that has a nice dip in it. I think I'm gonna just kind of be like mindful maybe to use this one a couple times throughout this rotation. I think that's what my plan is gonna be. So we have wait, no, not that one. We have this one. So the main shadows that I'm pulling from this are gonna be through these three palettes here. I think that these are gonna be great, and I think the color story is really, it complements itself. We have 5 shades. I think that's totally doable. My goal is gonna be to hit pan in all of these, except for maybe the matte shade out of my Huda palette, which is that one, just because those are really hard pressed, and it took me a crap ton of uses in that setting shade to hit pan. So I would love to hit pan in this, but if it doesn't happen, I'll be okay with that. But I really want to get some use out of this color story. Honestly, what I should have done is picked my color story and then done a look with it. It's an idea for next time that I guess. But yeah, I am really enjoying this palette. I know that my updates are kind of sporadic, but that's just kind of how it's gonna be unless we have like a bunch of progress. And that's like the only reason I even updated when I did, was because I was beating this palette and I wanted to like showcase that and rotate in some new shades, that kind of situation. So that's what's going on with that. I'm thinking that I might have an update for this next month. I definitely think that it'll be within the 2-month frame, just because those are already close to pan, and these are softer shades. So that is kind of my thought. But yeah, if you want to check out my first video, I will link it below so you can get a few more details on what the project is all about. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this update and this look, because I do. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye!